Hello and welcome to my moment in time. Thank you so much to Scott from the XRP Army for giving me this moment. And I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, why I'm in crypto and all that sort of stuff. So I am Australian, but I'm living in the US. So we came over about 5 years ago and it's been awesome. Like, we've had a really good time. We've met lots of awesome people. We're in the Pacific Northwest, which is awesome. Lots of forests, lots of greenery, lots of rain, which is actually good coming from the deserts of Australia. So I've really enjoyed being here, but it has been pretty hard to transfer money from Australia to America. And so, you know, like when you move, like there's some purchases that you need to do that are pretty stressful. America has a credit score system. So when you first arrive, no matter what you've done in your life before you arrive in the US, you basically haven't existed. So your credit score is like 0. So, you know, things like getting a car or a mobile phone or a credit card are super hard. And sometimes things like transferring money are really hard. So trying to transfer money from Australia to the US, I spent lots of time on the phone trying to talk to different banks. I had one bank suggest that I fly over to Australia just to sign a form. That's a 15-hour flight. In this day and age where, you know, we should be able to sign forms pretty easily, like that's the only thing they could do. So I eventually sorted out my bank situation, but I was left pretty frustrated and looking for a better way. And that's really how I found cryptocurrency. So, you know, doing some research and finding cryptocurrency that you can send within seconds is amazing. It was so hard transferring money from Australia. Like, you could only do a small amount at a time. So if you wanted to buy anything big, you have to spread it over like 20 days or something, like just to get the money that you need, which is obviously very stressful when you're trying to, you know, buy bigger things. Whereas, you know, with crypto, you can pretty much send as much as you want, as quick as you need. And so I thought that was amazing. So that's how I got into it. I probably found, so obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum very much piqued my interest, but then I found Steam, which is now the Hive token, which is basically a social media system or blockchain, and they have 3-second transactions. So learning about proof of work, proof of delegated stake, proof of stake, has all been super interesting. And obviously I landed on XRP because it is an incredible technology. Dealing with Ethereum and the gas prices are super frustrating. Bitcoin can blow right out when it comes to transaction times. XRP has none of that. The fact that it has validators that essentially are volunteers is incredible. I can't believe that works, but it does. And so, you know, finding XRP, and then it wasn't long before I found Coil. So for those that don't know, Coil is all about web monetization. So Coil itself is kind of like a blogging site, but really it's just the proof of concept for web monetization. And web monetization is essentially making sure that creators are paid in microtransactions instead of having to rely on advertising. So if you have a blog or a website, the ways that you make money are that you sell something or you have a bunch of advertisements. And I'm sure you've been to like a news site where, or really any site where you've gone on, you wanted to look at something and then there's ads flashing and popping up and there's sounds and things playing and all that sort of stuff. And web monetization fixes a lot of that because it means that the person who has the information that you want just gets paid for the time that you spend on it. And so the way that it works, Coil has a subscription service. So you pay $5 a month in USD, and then you get access to subscriber content. So Coil, the blogging site, even though it's so much more than that, but the blogging site, for example, you can write a post and then at the end of that post you might have, or maybe the entire post is just for subscribers. So what I'll often do is I'll write a post and then I'll put like a big chunk of it that's only for the subscribers. And so if you haven't got a Coil subscription, you can read like the first section, but you can't read the rest. And it's just a way to fairly pay creators. So what it means is that the time as a Coil subscriber, the time that I spend on your website, you basically, I think it's like you get like 35 cents worth of value for an hour, right? So that's just for one person, but if you have a number of people visit your site, that adds up really quickly. So yeah, it's incredible technology. And now, so we've got Coil, we've got Cinnamon, we've got other organizations jumping in like Condé Nast, which has a bunch of magazines, Cinnamon Video, which is similar to YouTube, but no ads. Like YouTube is almost unwatchable these days. Like I can't really watch it without a Brave browser, but you've got ads popping up all the time. You've got all these amazing creators that have to stop in the middle of their video to talk about their sponsor or all that sort of stuff, which drives me a little crazy. So Cinnamon helps resolve a lot of those issues. And then you've got my website called gfam.live, which is essentially an Instagram Lite type platform. It's really about sharing a story and a photo, and it's just that micro blogging really. So we all like swiping through people's photos on Instagram or Tinder or whatever, and it's really just that little story to enjoy. And so the people who create content for GFAM, they can receive tips in XRP, but they can also receive microtransactions for Coil subscribers that are looking at their content. So there's two ways for them to earn. And really the whole point of GFAM is to basically get more people into the ecosystem. So getting them to maybe receive their first ever cryptocurrency tip. We've definitely had people on GFAM that have never really heard of blockchain before, have only really heard of Bitcoin but are scared of it, think crypto is a scam, all that sort of stuff. And so teaching them how blockchain can be safer than a lot of fiat currency, that they don't have to pay all these outrageous fees that PayPal or Venmo, it doesn't matter where in the world they are, all that sort of stuff starts to blow people's minds. So it's really exciting, and I love being, almost a teacher in that space. And it is hard going. It's hard to get people to trust you. It's hard to get people to jump on, but I think it's going really well. And so, yeah, this is my contribution to the XRP community, is to basically help onboard new people into our ecosystem. I think Coil has been doing a pretty good job of that. Cinnamon Video has been doing a great job of that, but we need all types of content to be accessible. And XRP is such an incredible technology when it comes to transferring value. It's kind of unbeatable, really. So yeah, so really exciting. I don't know what the future holds for the XRP community. Like, it does seem like there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. The grant for the web is essentially a grant that's been set up by Coil to help people build the infrastructure and the content of the web monetization world. So, you have people creating programming things, websites and whatnot, or APIs or types of programming. And then you've got people creating content. So it might be podcasts and there's a band. And so Grant for the Web has gone through its first series of applications, and they've awarded their first batch of grantees. Basically, the Grant for the Web, I think, will last for about 5 years, and they'll call for applications every 6 months. So yeah, gfam.live was lucky enough to be a grantee, and so we'll be getting some funding to help build out the platform, which is super exciting, and we're going to spend a bit of money on marketing as well to help bring people into our ecosystem. So yeah, so I don't know where we're going, but I really think we need to break the stranglehold on the internet that Facebook, Google, and YouTube, well, which is Google, face the stranglehold, break the stranglehold that a couple of companies have on the entire internet. When the internet first started, it was this amazingly wacky place where you could find all sorts of crazy stuff, and it was all for free. And I remember like being really young and thinking like, I can't believe we're getting this stuff for free. And now we get things for free, but it really costs us quite a lot. Potentially costs us democracy. There's so much misinformation, and I think a lot of that comes from clickbait type advertiser models. Everyone is trying to get your attention, and so the most outrageous and the most like emotive tends to get your attention, so it just ramps up all the time. And everything is clickbait, so there's lots of sites where you've got to constantly click onto new pages just to get that little bit more information, where web monetization, I think, could kind of save the world, or at least save the internet. And you know, like web monetization, because creators get paid for the amount of time that someone spends on their website or their post, it really lends itself to kind of a deeper dive on information, which I think can only help our very short attention spans. So yeah, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot to be excited about. Obviously, I'll be excited to live a crypto life. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but the technology is clearly superior. Obviously, like quantitative easing and stuff, like there's a lot of benefits to that, but you know, what is the current inflation rate? Like there is some estimations that the real inflation rate is probably like 18%, which means like potentially you're losing a fifth of value every year with the money that you have. And that just doesn't exist for cryptocurrency, or, you know, doesn't exist for all cryptocurrencies. So yeah, there is a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to work towards. I feel like we've got such a big job. I'm really trying to work against misinformation, which I think is honestly one of our biggest problems, one of humanity's biggest problems. How can we solve any issue if we can't agree on what the facts are first? If we can't agree on the facts, how can we agree on the action? So yeah, so there's a lot of work to do on the internet, but I'm excited to be a part of it. And that's kind of my mission, to help bring people into blockchain, to help build out blockchain, to solve some of the problems that we have, and then hopefully have a safer, better, healthier internet, which should lead to a safer, more healthy community. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and thanks to Scott again and the XRP army, and I'm really happy to be part of the gang. All right, thank you, bye.